It is officially 2024, which means that I'm into my 5th month of owning my Tesla Model 3. Given the time that I've had with the car, I figured it was about time to give my take on the must-have day one accessories for those buying a Tesla this year. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Max, and today I'm going to go over my top 9 accessories for your Tesla in the year 2024. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know I own a Tesla Model 3, but since the Model 3 and the Y have so many parts in common, most of these accessories will be one-to-one with something that you could purchase or use for your Model Y. And in the case where it's not an exact match, they typically always have an option for the Model Y, so you'll still be able to use much of the things that I go over on the channel today. I will also say that when I purchased these accessories, I often went for the highly rated but more affordable option versus the name brand choice. Buying a Tesla is no cheap expense, so we wanted to save money wherever we could if it made sense to go with something more economical versus going for the name brand or high-end choice. So I'll definitely discuss that as I'm going through my list today and let you know how those decisions played out. All products discussed will be linked in the description below, so let's get into the list. Number 1, charging equipment. Now I know this is kind of loose for calling this an accessory because duh, you need to have your charging figured out, but I can't overstate the importance of having everything you need for home charging set up before you buy your vehicle if that's the route you're going with. Whether it be a permanent wall charger, a mobile charger from Tesla or a third party, you really want to make sure this is scheduled and set up before you take delivery of your vehicle, because it takes a lot of time and it's a pretty big investment. Now I have a whole video going over what I would recommend for home charging and the install that I went through that I'll link in the video now. So definitely check that out if you want full-blown details. But I personally went with the Tesla mobile charger, and as a bonus actual accessory to go with your charger, if you want to do the setup that I did, I also purchased a cable organizer to go with that charger so that I could neatly wrap my cables up when they weren't in use, that you definitely want to have if you're going with the mobile connection, so you don't have a big long wire just stretched across your garage. There are a range of different options for this, but as I said before, I'll link the specific one that I went with in the description below. If you want my setup, the Tesla mobile connector runs $230 and the cord organizer goes for $15.99 if you purchase it off Amazon. So let's get on to number 2, a screen protector. One of the best things about owning a Tesla is the interior aesthetic, which doesn't have any gauges, has limited buttons beyond what's on the steering wheel. It's really a clean design, but that means that basically all of your informations and a majority of your controls are all dedicated to that massive screen in the center, which makes keeping that screen visible and protected at all times of the utmost importance so that you can safely drive and operate your vehicle. So therefore, you're gonna wanna put a screen protector on it. The one that I recommend is the Spigen tempered glass matte screen protector. I use these products not only on the Tesla, but on my iPhones, and they're fantastic because they come with a whole system of a bracket that lines up to your screen, making it basically airproof to get that thing on exactly lined up the way you want it. The great benefit of going with the matte one versus the glossy one is not only is this anti-fingerprints so you don't splotch your screen up so it looks good and is very visible, but the matte is also anti-glare. That way when you're driving and it's really bright out, you can still easily see all your controls. It really does eliminate a majority of the glare that you'd have if you went with a glossy screen or had no screen protector at all. I personally love both of these features, and I also love the feel of the screen. It makes it feel silky smooth as you're doing different taps and swipes, controlling various aspects of the vehicle, so I do love that as well. And I don't have a video of me actually installing this, but I can't say enough about how easy the install is. I go with this company anytime I need any kind of tempered glass for any device or piece of hardware that I'm using. Really can't say enough about how much I recommend this particular screen protector. It is gonna run you $39.99, but that is $39.99 well spent. Go out and get one of these first thing. On to number 3, AllWeather Mats. I think it's pretty widely accepted that the mats that do come with the Tesla Model 3 are pretty much garbage. They're flimsy and they don't do a whole lot. And that's if you get a long range or performance model. If you happen to get a rear wheel drive, it doesn't come with any mats at all, meaning that this is an absolute must since you have nothing to use. Now, like almost everything on this list, there's a ton of options from Tesla, or a really popular brand is 3D Mats, but those all come with a pretty premium price tag. So rather than spend $300 on a full set of mats, I explored other options and went with one that I found on Amazon that was much more affordable. I purchased the Weatherliner brand AllWeather Mats, which cost me $149.99. Now this wasn't just all-weather mats just for the front and rear seats, it did include those, but it also included mats for the trunk, the front, and the under trunk sections. Really a great deal for that price tag, and probably about half, if not even less, than what I would have spent if I went with one of the more premier brands. and I'm extremely happy with the quality. It has this nice modern textured look, which keeps the car protected from different elements and dirt without taking away from the aesthetic of the Tesla itself, which I really love. They're super easy to clean, simply wipe away or vacuum any dirt or debris that you have, and again, they are incredibly affordable for what you're getting. The only issue that I did have is that the box that they're delivered in is smaller than the actual size of some of the larger pieces. So for example, the trunk or the long back seat piece was folded to fit in that box and did have some creases in it when I first took it out, but it does come with directions on how to cure that, whether it be heating it up with a hairdryer or putting weight on it. I simply just put them into place in the car, and the pressure from it snapping along the floor ended up flattening it out in a couple of days. So while it was a concern when I took it out of the box, within a few days, it was no longer a problem because they all look flat and flush. So yeah, this is definitely one of those cases where I'm advocating for going with the affordable option. Yes, I'm sure you probably can get better quality out there, but you're gonna pay for it. And we are very happy with what we got. So if you're looking to save a couple bucks in this arena, definitely recommend checking out the weather liners that I've linked below. Number 4, mud flaps. So I think Tesla's pretty notorious at this point for having less than stellar paint quality. It's pretty soft and is known to scratch and ding very easily. The best way you can prevent this from happening, beyond splurging on putting PPF over your entire vehicle, is to install things that provide preventative measures from keeping rocks from kicking up against your car. One of those things is going to be mud flaps. The ones that I went with were the Basenor mud flaps, which cost about $29.99. They aren't the heaviest duty you can buy, but they do a good job without taking away that aesthetic from the car. I think if you live in an area where you're off-road a bunch or you're driving over a lot of rocks, you might want to go with a more heavy-duty brand, but for typical commuters in suburban areas, these are plenty good enough. My biggest recommendation when you're looking at different options for mud flaps is to definitely go with one that doesn't require you to actually drill into your car. The ones that I have use pre-existing drill holes for the most part. It does give you the option to drill the front ones if you want to, but you don't have to. You can just use the clips, and I opted for that because I was not willing to drill into the car that I just purchased. Definitely take a look at what's out there, but the ones that I had worked great, and they only run $29.99, and that's without any sales, which honestly I see pretty frequently on Amazon. So definitely check these out if you want something that looks good and will provide you with moderate protection from mud flaps. That brings us to number 5, a console organizer. Now, one of the benefits of driving an electric vehicle versus an ICE vehicle is there's so many mechanical parts that you don't need when you're using a battery versus a traditional car setup. This has the advantage of having a lot more storage space, and you see that in the middle consoles. But the drawback to that is when you open these middle consoles on a Tesla, they're basically giant gaping holes that you can just reach into, and things could basically disappear into the abyss that is there. Tesla doesn't provide any factory console organization with the purchase of your car. So for me, who needs to have quick access to things like a garage opener, having something that floats above that space is incredibly important. So definitely think about getting console organization for your car. I personally here went with the Tesla brand, but that's because that's available on the Tesla referral store, so I was able to use referral credits from people purchasing cars using my referral code for that accessory. If you do not have the luxury of doing that, I definitely recommend exploring different options. The Tesla branded ones run $35 new from their store, but for that price, you probably could get very similar quality and potentially more accessories in some kind of bundle if you check out Amazon. Talking about the Tesla branded ones though, I'm very happy with the quality of the product. They have a nice felt finish that matches the interior of your consoles, which is great, and they have a nice sliding movement that allows you to push them out of the way to access different things inside of your vehicle as you're using them. So they're great, and if you have referral credits, to me, that's a no-brainer option. So on to number 6, which is an SSD drive to replace the thumb drive that your Tesla comes with. So I have a whole comprehensive video on why you want to go with an SSD versus the thumb drive they provide, and I also go over the install of that in a separate video, so I'll link that here. But the bottom line up front is the thumb drive that they provide you simply doesn't have enough storage or writing capability to keep up with or take advantage of Sentry Mode. You'll have events that don't save properly, or Sentry Mode simply won't activate and write in time to pick up what actually is going on. It's just not reliable if you're relying on Sentry Mode for significant aspects of your car security. So check out the video if you want to see all the details on that, but yeah, if you want to keep your Tesla secure, definitely go and buy yourself a solid state drive. I personally recommend the Samsung T7 portable drive. I got a 500 gigabyte model, and that runs about $89.99, but the price does fluctuate depending on demand and the color and size of the drive that you're going with. Check out my full video on upgrading your Tesla to an SSD for more details on that. With that, let's move on to number 7, which is cup holder inserts. Now this might seem pretty simple, but the cup holders that come in both the Model 3 and the Model Y are pretty roomy, so if you have anything that's a little bit more narrow, that will be rattling around a lot as you drive around. Not just that, but having any kind of insert in your cup holder area will make it incredibly easy to clean if you have any kind of spills, which are bound to happen. I personally went with the Kunis cup holder insert, which costs $15.99. This one was particularly nice because not only does it have a rubber insert for inside the cup holder itself, but it has a large flap that covers the entire area around the cup holders. I think if anyone has driven and spilled a drink, especially coffee, you know that usually it's not limited to just the cup holder section. It usually splatters around that area. Having this whole piece that lifts up and out makes cleaning an absolute breeze and is great for making sure things don't get in the crevices of your car. It also blends in very nicely and actually looks like a part of the vehicle because of the way that it lays flat. So I definitely recommend it for that reason. Whether it's this or anything else, definitely consider getting a cup holder insert to keep your car clean and your drinks firmly in place. And on to number 8, jack pads. If you ever pop a tire and Tesla service isn't the one coming to take care of your vehicle, chances are that the company that's doing so won't necessarily have the appropriate parts to lift a Tesla. That battery that's running your vehicle takes up a majority of the underside, which is a lot different than typical ICE vehicles. That's why you need to have jack pads so that they can properly lift your vehicle and fix your car in the case of an emergency. This will keep your batteries safe no matter what type of jack they're using. Now again, there are plenty of options here, and I went with the Carliner brand off Amazon. They're only $17.99 and they seem pretty solid, although fortunately I haven't broken down and had the opportunity to use them yet. But yeah, I know you never want to think about breaking down, but you definitely want to be prepared for any kind of emergency, and you don't want to risk damaging your vehicle when you call for help. So no matter what the brand is, make sure you have jack pads on hand so you can safely have your vehicle lifted if you ever pop a tire or anything else happens. And now onto my final accessory recommendation is miscellaneous cleaning supplies. So you're definitely going to want to have a handful of supplies to clean your Tesla on the go no matter what the circumstance is. From the delicate paint or the potentially white seats, you're really going to want to make sure you have the proper materials on hand to care for your vehicle. Whether that be microfibers, wet wipes, the appropriate cleaning scrub and solutions, make sure you get all of those things on hand so that you can regularly care for your vehicle's interior and exterior. Now again, I did a whole comprehensive video on what I do to keep my car clean from the inside and out, so definitely check that out. That goes over all the products that I use and the methods that I use to keep my Tesla pristine, and I recommend you taking a look at that if you want a more in-depth look at what you need to clean your car. But yeah, no matter what you decide to do and what method you go with, make sure you have supplies on hand so that you can properly hand clean your vehicle, because it's not something that you're going to want to take to the local car wash. So yeah, those are my accessory recommendations if you're going to become a new Tesla owner in 2024. If you have any other product recommendations or think I missed anything in this top 9, definitely add that to the comments below. As I said before, I'll link all products that I discussed today in the description below if you're interested in purchasing what I went with. That's all I really had to talk about today. If you're in the market for a Tesla and need a referral code, definitely feel free to use mine. As always, that's linked in the description below. At the time that I'm recording this video, that referral code gives you 6 months of FSD for free, along with 6 months of free supercharging, which is a huge benefit if you plan on using Tesla's network of chargers, and is well worth the money. And as always, if you like this content and you want to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe to see more. Thank you for watching. Until next time.